And welcome to
Now we
the
are.
first look seminar. Gino Bacola, we've got 2 weeks left in the Santa Anita meet, and we've got a couple weekends of great racing. But, of course, this weekend with the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga adds a lot of excitement to this weekend's festivities, Gino.
Yeah, we'll be talking about the Pick 5 here, and we've got plenty of stuff to talk about at Santa Anita, those Pick'em contests, pick'em.santanita.com, free to enter. Only a couple more weeks of those. Next week will be all of our big mandatory payouts and all of our closing stuff, so there'll be big money in the pools there. Tomorrow, we'll all kind of have our eyes on Saratoga as well. They've had really good racing the last couple days, even with a little bit of wet weather, just quality, quantity, big fields, a lot of money pouring in. Another huge day, top to bottom tomorrow. Just looking forward to it because they have one of those huge contests at ExpressBet too with the Belmont Stakes Challenge. So again, every Saturday it seems like it's another place that's got a big day. This one it'll be Saratoga. And Skippy, I know you've been putting the work in the last few days, so you're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Very exciting. Nice they're doing it at Saratoga the first time and having that little festival for 4 days. So great racing. It's almost like a Breeders' Cup card tomorrow. And then we got great racing at Santa Anita. The weather's great. And I'm looking forward to this weekend and making some money.
And we want to make some money all around the country, Gino and Skipper. But obviously everybody's doing the Pick 5 seminars for Saratoga. So we're going to stay with Santa Anita. Another good card tomorrow, Gino. And it looks like it has the makings to have a nice payoff here in the late Pick 5.
Yeah, so we're going to take a look at races from starting in race number 6. And you mentioned that you actually like a price horse right off the bat. So I can put my host hat on for a second, Chappie, and I will ask you in race number 6 if anyone wants to follow along with us and turn to race 6. It's a maiden special weight race, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, 6.5 furlongs on the turf course. Talk to us about who you like in this race.
All right, so we've got a field of 8. We've got some first-time starters. There's an interesting field of maiden special weights here going 6.5 on the turf. I'm going to actually go with a trainer who does not win first out often at all, but the talent is undeniable in the mornings watching on XBTV, as we all do, and that is the 6 Pacific Quest at 12-1 for Bob Hess. And this is going to be my top play. He's back with Kent DeSormo. I don't know if this is a prep or not, guys. And obviously, Bob is 0 for 16 first time out. We know he's better second time out. Maybe this horse wants to go longer, but there's undeniable talent here. And, I will spread some here, but I think this horse, if it doesn't win tomorrow, he's a horse to watch at Del Mar. And I think the price is too good to leave off the ticket. I don't know if either of you guys saw any of that, but I will definitely play at least some money across the board on the 6 Pacific Quest at 12-1, Gino.
Yeah, I'm glad you wanted to start with this race. This was the race that was the most challenging to me because I think you can make cases for a lot of the longer prices in the field like you were just doing right there. I thought Kalen Dana, who's getting Lasix for the first time. This horse is coming off a layoff, hasn't started since last year, is now going to come into the Drysdale barn. That second race, this horse was the debut was chasing a lone speed winner. We've seen a couple really nice efforts from this horse, and I think she's a little bit sneaky in here too. I look, obviously the one would not be a surprise at all. Glatt is incredible off the long layoffs like this. There were 3 next out winners coming out of that race too. A horse named Stay Hot. And the winner, Wind Me Up, is 3-time graded stakes placed. So that's a strong race. Rolly, the 3, that dam won the debut going 5.5 furlongs on the turf. I'm looking at my picture I have up here of my old boxer was named Rolly there. So rest in peace. That was my good buddy there. So I see him every day when I look up there. And Prosper's obvious. So yeah, this is the spread race in the sequence. To me, I will shorten up in the next couple races with a single and then just, I think, 2 deep in another one. But I think this is a fun spread out race because it's a race you can like a lot of horses. Sometimes there are the opposites, right? Where you don't really love anyone and you don't really have a strong case for anyone. This, if you have an opinion like you do, maybe you shorten up on one ticket, maybe you play another one where you spread out a little bit.
Yeah, Skip, I think the other ticket would be a spread one because obviously you could make a case for only almost every horse in this race, and we haven't even talked about the outside with the Peter Miller, Juan Hernandez first time starter that you can't watch the XBTV works because the horse is at San Luis Rey. I think the favorites could be vulnerable in here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not going to use the favorite, the 4, or the second favorite, 3-1. I'm going to use the 1. The 1 comes out of that good race, like Gino said, first time Lasix. The only thing that I'm a little skeptical, it looked like it missed a work from May 6th and then didn't work again until the 20th. So maybe it missed a work in there, but the works have been good. The 20th and the 1st, both were good works. I got to use the 3 Rowley. I mean, not only because of Gino's partner, that he's missing, but D'Amato did this the other day. He did it on Sunday. He legged a horse up coming off a layoff, and he legged it up at Los Alamitos. And I think it had a work or two at Santa Anita and ended up winning nicely. So that doesn't bother me at all that this horse was working over at Los Al, then shipping over. The last, 3 works have been at Santa Anita. I'm going to use the 5 also out of the ones that have run. Like I said, I'm not using the 4. I'm not impressed with the 4. I know they paid 1.7, but it's got speed. I just don't like the way, what I've seen from this horse. I know it comes out of a good race. Parenting is that good Baffert horse that was working real good, but I'm throwing them. I'm going to use the 1, the 3, the 5, Pacific Quest, the 6 that you mentioned. I saw the same thing. Is it a prep for Del Mar? Are they trying to win? The one thing I will say, that work on the 2nd, they were shoving on it. So it looks like they might want to try to win first asking with this one. It's not like it was just kind of sitting there. They were racing that horse. They were asking that horse, which that shows me that they're trying to get real fit. They're trying to win first time out. And then I'm going to use the outside horse by Oscar Performance. That horse wins 19% with first time surf starters. Peter Miller, Juan Hernandez. So I'm going 1, 3, 5, 6, and 8 to start off.
And a lot of pedigrees in this race too, just solid grass pedigrees. Those 3 outside horses, Dam won on the turf, Pure Madness, 2 of 3 winning turf siblings. The one that didn't win was actually graded stakes placed. A horse named Tom's Regret. Oscar Joy's Dam won on the turf. As I mentioned, I think Rowley was Dam won on the turf also. So these first time starters, they've got some turf in their pedigree as well. That's what makes this a tricky race.
Right. Yeah, and I'll tell you one thing also, you guys mentioned Rowley a little bit. If you want to get a judge maybe of Rowley, race 1 and race 6, I think, are a split. And Rowley worked with the 5 Sweet Odyssey in race 1 and probably worked a tad better, but they were close. Sweet Odyssey is 5-1 in the opener. So maybe you can kind of get a judge of how that horse runs in race 1 to get maybe a little bit better idea of how Rowley is going to run in race 6. All right, let's move on to the second leg. Small field here, Gino. We've got the Summertime Oaks grade 2 going a mile and a 16th. Field of 4. The Baffert on the outside, 4 to 5 morning line, you're not going to get much of a price. Are you going to single here or are you going to spread a little bit?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to single there with her because I think she sits to the outside pretty well. She has versatility. She just has more experience than a lot of these. I respect the heck out of Jane Austen from the rail. Sugarfish is maybe facing a little bit softer, and then Showcard's been good. But I envision that Jane Austen from the inside will probably have to be forced a little bit. And I think Showcard will be right on that one's outside or keeping that one company. And those two will probably set it up nicely for Nothing Like You to sit right behind them. Just a little more proven going longer. And if you look at her races, the race behind Kinza and Copian, 2 really, really nice fillies. If you just eliminate that one, I mean, she's won 4 of her last 5 races and she's in really nice form. I think she just sits the trip from the outside. So from a ticket structure standpoint, that was the 6th race is a race I have to be spreading out. And I think it's really difficult. And I just feel like Nothing Like You is the best in this race for me personally. So it's just not worth it for me to double up or try to triple up when I'm building my pick 5 ticket. So I'm going to eat the chalk here from the outside with Nothing Like You.
Sometimes you got to eat the chalk there, Skippo, yep. Or is it the single for you as well? Nothing Like You?
I wanted to single it. I mean, it's gone 2 turns. That last race in St. Oaks was very, very impressive. But something tells me that Show Card, I love the way that this horse has won in the last 2 races. Finally stretches out. Last time it beat Older, the horse it beat came back and won Dazzling Diamonds on Sunday. You know, it wasn't a very good race, but that horse won nicely too. I think this horse is ready to stretch out, and I'm going to take a shot. And I think this horse breaks on top in the short field, and hopefully it outbreaks, Jane Austen. And Mike just sends this horse to the lead, and maybe Jane Austen and Nothing Like You try to battle for position behind this horse. And I think this horse could go wire to wire. And I'm going to take a shot here, and I'm going to single it. I love that it's the last 2 races, like I said. It's finally gotten form. It's won by 3.5 and 2.5 lengths. Very easy. It drops back down with 3-year-olds, and it goes 2 turns for the first time. I think it's the speed of the race. And I've seen Money Mike do this before. He breaks on top and he just goes on with it. So I'm going to take a stand and I'm going to single Show Card here.
I see what you're saying there too. I mean, I can't single at all, and I usually do 2 tickets because, like you said, the 3 and the 4 are both Bafferts. They're both not sending. Jane Austen, sat off of a 48-1 last time. I think the 3 could get a fairly easy lead, Gino. Definitely, like you said, you got to take a stand somewhere.
Yeah.
But Show Card could get away. We don't know yet because the horse has never gone 2 turns.
And the key to the race, and then I think sometimes we have to think about this too. You got to handicap intent a little bit. It's not as if Mike isn't a send rider or can't go with speed, but Mike, we think of Mike Smith at this point of his career as a little more of a patient rider, right? He'll be jumping aboard this horse for the first time, whereas Hernandez has been aboard previously. So then from the inside, maybe you get a little more aggressive ride with Jane Austen, just sort of how I'm projecting it. But again, I think you got to take little things like that into consideration sometimes because Mike is so good at, again, getting horses to relax, settle, know when to push the button and make the move. Not knocking him with his ability. He can definitely win on the lead, but just at least something worth mentioning with, horses in a small field like this and when position and the key to who's getting, like you said, if one horse clears the other and they stack up 1, 2, 3, 4, then the complexion of the race really changes. I would say for both of your favors that if one of the 2 horses sneaks away, it feels like it's going to be Show Card.
Yeah.
I don't think Jane Austen clears away from Show Card. I think it's either Show Card getting away or they battle.
I'm with you. I think if Show Card breaks, she's going to be on the lead on the engine early. So we shall see. All right, let's move on to the 3rd leg, Skipper. We're going a mile on the turf. Starter optional claimers. We've got a field of 9. And what are your thoughts here?
Well, first of all, I'm frozen on the big screen, but I'll just keep talking and then I'll log out and log back in. So
we can hear you fine. You're just you got the same look on your face, like this perplexed look.
It is. You do got like a professor.
Very serious.
Look. Yeah.
All right. This race, I'm going to use a couple in here. I'm actually more than a couple. I'm going to use the one, Ole Silver from the rail. I bet this horse before. I know it's 0 for 7 on the grass, but it's run some good grass races. Breaking from the inside, I think this horse could either go or Talamo could sit off. Phil D'Amato's having a good meet. This horse is going to be okay. It will be on my ticket. The 3, Medahia, I got to use. I know this horse just ran last weekend, but or 2 weeks. Yeah, last weekend, actually. I got to use it coming right back, dropping down. I don't know what happened. Maybe it just was outclassed.
I'll tell you what happened. She was hooked brutally wide. She was 4 wide going into the turn, and then she was 3 deep, and they were going pretty quick early on. So I think about halfway through, they just packed it in and said, you know what, we got no shot here. Let's just regroup. And they obviously don't think that it took a whole lot out because they come right back. So that doesn't bother me at all, Skip. So I'm glad I was able, because I saw the same thing, and she's going to be one of a few that I use.
Okay. That makes me feel even more confident. I'm going to use the 4 Indy Star. This horse, second off the break on the grass, won 4 of its 7 races have been on the grass, and it's won. So I like that with Mike Smith. I got to use my bomb in here is the 5 Dramatizer. This horse has some back class. It's 15-1 on the line. It just ran, a couple weeks ago, but it won very impressive. I know it was only for 12.5. This horse has 2 wins over the Santa Anita Grass, and that horse is a bomb that must be on my ticket. And then the other one I'm going to use is a 7, Zayarat. I like this horse too. I know it's only got 1 win out of 16 on the grass. It's 0 for 6 at Santa Anita, but it's 3rd off the break. The last race wasn't bad against Indy Star and Dreams Princess. So I'm going to use that horse also. So I'm going 1, 3, 4, 5, 7 in here.
All right, Gino, you have a couple to add? I have a couple to add as well that Skip has left out. I think this is a very difficult race.
Yeah, it is. And I'm going to try to zig when a lot of people will zag. I'm going to try to go just too deep in here with the 3 Mediha, who we mentioned. I think if you just eliminate that last race, which found a very valid excuse for, she's a nice mare. Like, she's been really honest and really solid at and around this level. She just doesn't win all the time, but for the most part, she's been facing slightly tougher than this. So I think she sits a really good trip in here. And the other one is the 8, Dream Princess, who you just look at her recent form. She's only run a couple races in the last few years. Every time she races, she's just going to get fitter and fitter and fitter. She just missed last time out. She was probably a tad bit short because that was only her 2nd start back since August of 2022. And she actually had a couple months off before that race. So now she'll be sharper. She can sit just off, but she also has speed. So the 2 horses I'm using, their running styles are pretty similar. And I hope they're not on the lead. I'd love to see them sitting right behind the leaders.
Yeah, I'm with you. The eight was actually my top pick in here, and which I think is a wide open race. The only horse I would mention that you guys haven't, and we basically covered the whole field as we know this is a tough race, and you're going to try to get away with a couple, is the 6, who in the last 3 races since taking the blinkers off has improved quite a bit, and Barrios jumps back aboard after Dettori being out of town.
The key is a lot of horses in this race that can kind of sit like her too. It's kind of funny because, as you were pointing out, the blinkers come off, and usually it's sort of the opposite that people think, right? When you put the blinkers on, you show more speed, but a lot of times it's just more of like a relaxing thing.
Correct.
You get a horse to run more comfortable. They can just focus on running, and they're not looking all around. So that may be the case. That may be the case sometimes when it goes back and forth. So for this time, she may be just relaxed a little bit more, and she's not so focused on just what's in front of her. She's able to kind of breathe, and she kind of gets to the front on her own. So I feel like we should, hello, darkness, my old friend. When we see Skip right here.
Can we hear Skip? Skip.
I'm here.
Skip, now we can't see you at all. Okay.
That's as long as you can hear me, you're probably better off not seeing me.
That's what I was going to say. This is probably a better look for you. Just nothing. But we can hear you. So you're
okay. Good.
And let me know where you got that shirt. It looks fantastic. Send one for me.
It's like Skip turned the lights out. He's going to just talk in the dark. That's fine.
I feel like we could do a comedy show here. You and I, we're like at the Apollo. You know what I mean? Like we're just,
All right.
Oh, sorry, guys.
No, you're good. Let's go on to race 9, Skipper. I'm going to come back to you. We're going 6 furlongs here, starter optional claimer. We can't see you, but we can sure can hear you. So what are your thoughts here?
I've never looked so good. I'm telling you what. And okay, the race 9, I'm going to go 3 deep in here. I think the favorite is Vulnerable. I mean, obviously the last race was on the grass. Once it was out of it, they probably didn't try. It's going, but it's still open company. I'm going to use it, but I'm not going to obviously single it. I'm going to go the 4, 5, and 6. There looks to be like a lot of speed in here, or a few that could go to the front. The 4 being one of them. The 4 is finally going back to the dirt, which I like. When O'Neill goes back to the turf, or from turf to dirt, he wins 21% of the time. This horse has 3 starts on the main track, 1 win and 1 second. And so I got to use the 4. Now the 5 I'm going to use in case there's a speed duel and maybe these horses get tired. I think the 5 is going to come running. John Sadler, JJ Hernandez. I love when they go turf to dirt. I love when they go route to sprint. And this horse is that one. So I'm going 4, 5, 6 in here.
Gino, your thoughts? Anything different?
It's so funny. This was a great race. Just to see how hard it is sometimes in handicapping. 4, 5, 6. I am 2, 3, 6, 7. So those are my 4. We have one similar horse and basically cover the field. So Perfect and Gray will go second, start off the claim for Sadler. Tried the turf last time out, comes back. Actually, both Elton Sings Another and Perfect and Gray tried grass last time out in a tougher race. They get back to this spot on the dirt. That's just a softer spot. And for both of them, they'll likely be forwardly placed and showing speed. But that's what's a little bit concerning, is that both of them could be showing speed. So if they do, they may soften each other up. There's also a horse like Recalcitrant, who Skip pointed out, who's pretty quick and could be showing speed. So I wanted to use a couple that I think could be passing horses. I threw in the 3 Big Celebration. You know, she has a few of the best races in the whole field when you kind of look at buyer speed figures and speed ratings and stuff. So, and what I like is she did it on grass and on the turf. She showed that she can have a little bit of speed, but she can also pass horses. So she may not have to be as far back as she was last time out. And I also think the Maiden's a little bit interesting in here. This horse has run some good races, and she has always been a very good workhorse. And now she's going to cut back from races going 7 furlongs and a mile. So she'll have a little more punch here. And if we're thinking that this might be a race that sets up for horses off the pace, she's training well in the morning. She can stalk. She should be closing late. You know, maiden special weight races sometimes are tougher than these races that are against lower level winners, because you're facing like maiden allowance winners, horses that win those races, then go on into stakes races and first level allowance races. Look at her race a few starts back when she's facing Kinza, as we pointed out, and even Two Back. That's the horse that's in the stakes race that we just talked about. The next out winner, Sugarfish. So she's coming out of some sneaky strong races. I think she can pass horses. It doesn't bother me that she's a maiden in here, because there's nobody that scares the heck out of you. There's no monsters in this field, and she's run well enough, and she continues to train well. So I'm going to go 2, 3, 6, 7 in here.
2, 3, 6, 7. I'm texting, by the way. When your general manager calls you, you got to text back, even if it's a live show. So, the only other thing I was going to make a case for, the only one you guys didn't mention is the 1, actually, because the 1, 1 first time out. Now it's third off the layoff. Dean Pedersen, we know, is very, very sharp trainer. That's another horse like the 5 who could benefit from a pace tool, Gino. And it looks like
and
fast early here.
And like my counter to my own worry is the rail draw, because if they do just go fast enough, it may not matter. If this horse is just going to drop back, because horses like this aren't the ones that I usually worry about drawing the rail. It's the horses who kind of stalk or want to sit close, because they're the ones that they have to make the decision, right? They have to either shove way up and be on the lead inside getting pushed, or they have to take way back and be farther than their normal trip would be. This is a horse who would have no problem just, hey, let's just take way back. Let everybody go in front of us. Let's sit 5 lengths off and just hope that happens. If this is a spread race for you too, she's not a bad horse to include, because there are versions of this race where that happens.
Yeah, no question. All right, let's move on to the 10th and final. Gino, a mile on the turf, $32,000 beaten claimers here. Little tricky race once again. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to play one ticket where I might single the 1. I think the 1 might be better than the rest of this field. Just a horse who had a really long layoff, showed some ability against tougher, broke the maiden against maiden special weights, then came off of a 1.5-year layoff and showed speed that day, but just needed the race, just got tired, as you would expect, and now comes back with that race after a month. So it's not like a quick turnaround, plenty of time to recover from that, training well in the mornings following that. 1 ticket I single in case this horse is just better. But the problem is there is a good amount of other speed in here. So that's why I don't feel as confident just playing a huge ticket singled ending to this horse, because he could run a good race and still get kind of torched up front. Sort of funny. The 4 horse is named Keen to Go. My note is not really, because the horse doesn't want to go, right? The horse wants to come from off the pace. So that's what you were hoping for with at least a couple in here in your pick 5s. And that's what we're thinking with Keen to Go. St. Ignacio is another one that I'm for sure he will close. So I'll have him because his form's a little bit muddied up, but that happens with horses that have his running style. They don't have as consistent a form because there's so many times they catch fields that don't set up for them. And so those are races you can eliminate a good amount of them. I think the 1 and the 7 were the ones I'm using all over. The 4 keen to go to. Probably build a lot of tickets around those 3.
Yeah, I thought the 7 was very interesting third off the layoff, that the last time that horse actually sat. And like you said, I think the 1's probably the most talented, but boy, there looks like there could be a hot pace. So I think it's a very interesting race. Yep. What about the man behind the curtain? Skip, what are your thoughts?
I got to use the 2, Circle of Champions. This is third race off the break. Goldfoot came back to win last time, and that was a sneaky good race. It was on the inside, on the rail the whole time, behind a very slow pace. And this horse really never had clear sailing going, in the stretch. On the gallop out, he kind of found a little hole, and he galloped out like 5 in front. I know that it's 1 for 19, and maybe that's just the race that, he always runs. But I got to use the 2, especially with all the speed. I think this horse should get a great trip. The drop down to to 32 claimer, I like. I got to use the 4 keen to go, even he doesn't show speed like Gino said. No, he doesn't. This horse comes from off the pace, obviously. Jeff Mullins, JJ Hernandez. Mullins is having a great meet. I think he's going to finish the meet strong. He wins 23%, with horses coming off 180-day layoffs. What a dude I'm going to use also. I don't know if this horse got the trip that he wanted last time. That's the first time this horse has been on the lead, and I think this horse is much better sitting with a target, and he'll definitely get a target in here. With Freysu aboard, I think it gets a different trip. Maybe it's good enough and could win. And then, of course, the 7, Feriano. I got to use that one. Stumbled last time, ran a bang-up race, got beat a neck off the long layoffs. This also is third off the break, so I got to use that one also. So I'm going 1, 2, 4, 5, and 7 to close it out.
Gino, this might be for you or Skip, because I watch a lot of the replays. I did not watch that last race of What a Dude. Was that horse just rank, or because the horse has never really shown speed, and then all of a sudden goes 46-3 and just runs off? It
might have been intent. It might have been that they were just trying to get a little bit aggressive with the horse, and they were just wanting to go from the beginning. But I'm not expecting that to be the case in this race.
Yeah,
I'm playing him. If you're playing him in here, and on some spread tickets, he would be on them for me. You're hoping that he comes from off the pace too. So
right,
yeah, I don't think that's what they wanted. And you know what? He didn't run that poorly going a mile and an eighth, but I'm just assuming it's going to be more of an off the pace trip for him here.
Right. Yeah, that just so unlike that horse, right? And then
they were going quick too. It wasn't like he was loping along going 50. It wasn't one of those where he just inherited the lead. They wanted to go.
Yeah. Maybe that was just the tactics. Sometimes something will happen, they'll get rank and just run off. But that horse never ran off.
He'd been favored, or he'd been bet a couple times in his last few races. They were probably kind of confident with him at those spots. And then sometimes when you just feel like you may have the best horse in a race sometime, you just want to get aggressive, right? And just try to put him on the front end. I think that may have been kind of, I try to get inside Doug's head. I don't know. The only thing that me and Doug know in this game, I was going to say, the only thing that me and Doug could be close on is Little Caesar, some pizza. You know what I mean? Like little pizza together.
All right. We've had a lot of people join us since we started this. So before we get to the Belmont and our thoughts there, just a best bet or a long shot from each of you. So Gino, who's your key in the sequence here?
Give me I'm going to go 2 deep only in race number 8, which is the mile on the turf, the optional 32. So that's a key race to me, because I think that's a race where a lot of people are going to spread out. And I'm just going to go 2 deep with Mediha and with Dream Princess, those 2. So instead of giving you one, I'll give you that race where I'm going to shorten up a little bit. Those horses I don't think will be favored, probably 4-ish and 5-1, right around there. And we hope we can get through that race with just those 2. That'll give you a little bit of coverage in some of the others.
Skip, I'm going to guess here that you're going to talk about Show Card, because even though it's such a small field, you're going to single against a big favorite, or are you somewhere else you're thinking?
No, show card's going to be it. That's going to be my single. I'm going to take a stand, and I'm just hoping, that Mike could get this out of the gate good, which I think he will. I think that horse has a big shot to go wire to wire in that race, and it's 5-2. It's third choice, on the morning line, and I think we'll get every bit of 5-2. I know they're going to bet the 1, and obviously, the 4 probably will be 3-5 in there. Yeah. After winning the San Anita Oaks by 7 1/4 lengths.
Big
so
figure
show cards
too.
it for me.
If you beat that one, that could be a real key to the sequence too. No, because Nothing Like You will probably play a little bit shorter, even just because some of those running lines and some of the horses she faced, she's training well too. She doesn't really have very many knocks on paper, so she'll get hit hard.
Right.
I'm going to go back to that first leg. A big long shot, first timer, Pacific Quest, number 6, race 6, 12-1 in the morning line for Bob Hess. Doesn't win first time often at all. So I'm just saying use it. That's all. I think this horse is extremely talented. So maybe once in a while they pop when they don't even expect them. It's like when I talked to Ron Ellis and the Rabbi won the first time out. Ron said to me, every one of his grade 1 winners won first time out when he didn't expect it. So, and that horse won first time out at a giant price. So you never know, right? That the talent sometimes carries them through. All right, let's go to the Belmont Stakes, gentlemen, real quick. Your thoughts, Gino. Race 12 at Saratoga tomorrow. Yes, Saratoga for the Belmont Stakes. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and it's cool whether or not you feel like the Triple Crown should be changed or not. That's a debate for another time. I personally would keep it. I don't, but I'm not strong one way or the other. I'm not like some people have a real strong sense of keep it or don't change it. I keep it. But this race in particular would have had 6 or 7 horses if it was at 1.5 miles. Instead, we have 10. It's a way better race just this year, and it's at Saratoga, and the pools have been huge. People have been betting so much because there's a buzz for Saratoga. I'm going to play this with 2 horses that are the 2 that I think are the horse to beat, and then 2 that I think are the horse to bet. And I'll probably use those 4 in the combos of exotics for me. So the 2 horses that I think are the ones to beat are Mystic Dan. Man, I was so impressed with his Preakness, even more than his Derby, because that's the race where you win the Derby, and then for the next 2 weeks, nothing is normal for you and your trainer and the horse, your travel, the preparation for the race. There's people interviewing the horse, like all this stuff that they don't have happen going into the Derby. So that's the race in the Preakness when things can go a little bit off for you. He was chasing Lone Speed that day. I thought he still ran really, really well, and he is just kind of impressed me overall. So I think him and Sierra Leone, they're the 2 to beat. The 2 for me to bet are Resilience, the 2 who I liked a little bit in the Derby. He made a huge move. Top of the lane, he was right on even terms with the leaders. He just flattened out a little bit. He was sitting like 3 or 4 wide most of the race, and then made that huge 6-7 wide move. And now he's down in post 2. Bill Mott wasn't sure if he was going to run him in this race. He definitely would not have run if it was 1.5 miles. But I loved reading in some of the quotes from him. He said, we're training in the morning as well as we were at any point before the Derby. And I'm not convinced yet that we're not 1.5 miles horse. Because if we run well here, then that keeps open races like the Travers and the Breeders' Cup and other really big races all throughout the year. If he doesn't run well going 1.25 miles at least, we're not overexerting him and pushing him to 1.5 miles. And then we'll know we can turn back for now. Maybe we go in a different direction. So for a barn that doesn't normally force horses into spots like this, the fact that they feel good enough about taking a chance in a race like this, I feel good enough too. And then my other price horse was Honor Marie. You just eliminate the Derby. If you like that horse going into the Derby, he had one of the nightmare trips that you think about when you think about bad trips in the Kentucky Derby. He came out of the starting gate and he got pinballed about 5 times, back, forth, just boom, 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 boom. And then going into the turn, he gets shuffled brutally back. And then he makes this move from dead last where he's 15 lengths off. All of a sudden, he moves all the way up to 8th and he's within 5 lengths. And then he just flattens out and gets a little bit tired because it was like, whoa, just using all your energy and exerting everything just to get up into contention. So the 2 price plays, 2 and 8 for me. The 2 horses who I think will be pretty tough, Mystic Dan and then Sierra Leone. He'll come closing. They made a little change with equipment for him, try to keep him from leaning in and lugging in. They have a jock change. That's been their focus the last 5 weeks in the morning. making sure, trying to get him straight, more efficient late. So yeah, I think it's him. And then I think the 10 mind frame is exactly how I felt about Forever Young in the Derby. Like, what do you do with this horse? You probably want to throw him in on a pick 4 or pick 5. Could never play him at 7-2 to win, though.
Yeah.
That'd be way too short for me.
Yeah. Skip, tomorrow, well, you're lucky we only have 1 week of this left for the season, because if you win tomorrow, we will never put your face on air again.
Oh, I know.
You're just going to be, if you could just call in or something, we don't have to see you anymore. If you win tomorrow, that's it.
Yeah.
We'll just do like a caricature cutout of you or something. So what are your thoughts here, Skipper?
Buddy, that's why I do the radio show. So people don't got to see me. They just listen to my nasally voice. Okay. I think Sierra Leone is the horse to beat, obviously. I think it's the best horse in the race. They made that equipment change, like Gino said. They put Flavien Prat aboard. But I'm going to use a couple long shots also. I'm going to use Antiquarian. This horse, look, it's run one bad race, and that was the Louisiana Derby, and that horse was acting up before the race got going. Then it broke through the starting gate before. They never win when they do that, and it still didn't run that bad that day. And the Peter Pan, it was a wide trip all the way around. It finished nicely. I think this horse wants every part of the 1.25 miles. That horse seemed to be getting stronger as the race was, getting longer. And I really like the way that horse finished. I like that horse. I gave it out first time out on the air for the radio show, and it got beat by Conquest Warrior. So the 5 is going to be on my ticket, and I'm not quite giving up on Dornoch yet. This horse had no shot in the Derby. It broke from the rail. It had zero chance. This horse, first time as a 3-year-old and the Fountain of Youth, it only beat 5 horses. It wasn't impressive, but it got the job done. The Bluegrass Stakes, they tried to take hold. They tried to get this horse to rate. It did not rate. It got beat by Sierra Leone. The Derby, no shot. It's come back to train well. If I'm the connections with Luis Saez, I just break out and I go to the front, because I think when this horse gets in front, he gets really game and is tough to pass. So if I'm the connections, I just go to the front at 15-1, and see if this horse could keep going. So those are the 3 I'm going to use. I'm also going to add the Bill Mott horse, Resilience, like Gino said. This horse is training really good. I know Bill Mott is high on this horse. So I'm going to use the 2, 5, 6, and I think the 9 is going to be tough to beat. But I like the prices of those other horses, and they will be on every pick 4 and pick 5 that I do.
Gino, is Skip a Dornoch apologist? No.
He loves it. Well, no, that's the thing.
I'm joking. We all get on a horse, but I agree.
We do.
They gotta send that.
My only concern would be, even if they do, and he is, I think the one's going Sees the Gray, because that's been working out so well for him. The feel like the 4's got to be sitting close. The Wine Steward, like, he doesn't really want to be coming from way out of it. And then what's going to happen with the 10, right? Yeah. What are they doing? They're doing from out there? Because I don't think they want to sit 4 or 5 wide. They probably have to at least use some to get position, and then who knows? So that would be my only counter. But I would never talk anybody off a 15-1 horse. And what's nice, when you have a long shot, it's better to have one that's going to get in the race and give you a run for your money than a horse who's going to be closing from 10 lengths out of it, because a lot of stuff can happen behind Dornoch. Sees the Gray could break poorly from the rail. Mindframe could decide to sit a little bit. The Wine Steward sits off a little bit. And then all of a sudden, so at least if you're a horse, if you're playing a horse that has speed as a long shot, you get a good run for your money a lot of the time.
Yep.
Right. No, and my logic was too, the post position 6, it's drawn out outside of Sees the Gray, who that's the only one that I'm really afraid that might be able to go. But that horse breaking from the rail, if that horse doesn't get off real good, Dornoch could either go or he could sit clear, in the outside where he's got a free run, no dirt in the face, out of the trouble. So that's why I like the post position draw too. The Wine Steward's also got speed. It's drawn outside of it. The only one that, like you said, is Mindframe on the way outside. But, I don't think that horse wants to go to the front. Last time it made the lead, they went 24-3, 49, 113. I don't think that's a speed horse. I know it's got tactical speed, but, I don't think that's one that they're going to send. So We'll see what happens. I'm not off Dornoch yet. If he loses tomorrow, I might be off him.
He's gonna knock Skip off at the door tomorrow.
No, look, I kid because it's funny. You're going to get a huge price because of a horse who last time out broke from the rail, and when the gates opened, the horse missed the break. It was game over for anybody on the rail in the Derby, but especially a horse with speed. So you're getting a huge overlay no matter what on a horse who they're probably going to send and is very talented. So, all right. Join us tomorrow morning on the Morning Line Sports Show. So that's AM 830, AM830.net, or the Angels Radio app, or on Facebook Live or Instagram Live, TML at AM 830. And starting off the show tomorrow morning at 8:05, we'll have Eddie Olczyk on the show. So get a little insight, Skipper, for hockey and, of course, the Belmont Stakes.
Yeah, game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals is tomorrow. Looking forward to it. They've had this long break. Both teams will be ready to go. I'm all over the Florida Panthers. I think they're built for this. I think they're going to win, and I can't wait to hear Edzo's opinion. And I think he is actually at the Belmont at Saratoga. So I'd love to see what he likes and if he likes anything else tomorrow at the track and what the weather's like and all that good stuff. So it should be fun. He's a great guest, and he's a great guy, and we love having Edzo on.
All right, thanks for joining us, guys. We have one more week left of this show, and a great weekend coming up, and, of course, great racing tomorrow. Like Gino said, we just went over the Pick 5 here, and huge pools at Saratoga tomorrow. So, gentlemen, thank you so much. Good luck, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Good luck, everyone.
Good luck, everybody.